So, Ajad, all of you join first. Prakash. Hello, Ajad. Sairam. Sir, audio on the lecture. You are parked on laga. On the kada? So, all of you mute yourselves. Only when it's necessary, you can unmute. Okay. So, we'll start. Why you are joining late even after 10 minutes break? Okay. Today, we'll start with the reciprocating machines. Okay. So, Sairam has joined. We'll start with the reciprocating machines. That is, on the left side, we have the shaper. The middle one is the planer, and the third one is the slaughter. We'll try to see the working principle of all this, the components of this particular reciprocating machines, and the operations done on these machines, and whatever the holding devices we have, like the lathe machine. So we'll start the class. So shaping, planing, and slotting. How? Hello? 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 Don't unmute yourself. So we have that shaping, planing, and slotting can be defined as the process of removing metal from a surface, from the job piece or the work piece in the horizontal position, in the vertical position, and in the inclined position. You have to know all that particular tools also where you want to use for machining the vertical surface. In the case of a vertical surface, we use a side cutting tool. In case of machining the horizontal surface, we use a planing tool. And the angular surface is a single point cutting tool. So all that you have to know, and we can also machine the irregular surfaces. We can also machine the irregular surfaces. For that, we have to use a forming tool. And for cutting this slots and grooves, not mentioned here, slots, grooves, and keyways, we can use a square nose tool. Square nose tool. So that is the thing. And suppose you want to machine a spline shaft or a cutting gears, you can use a pinion shaped cutter. Pinion shaped cutter. So opposite of the gear, whatever you want, you know how the job shape. You try to make the forming tool like that, or the pinion shaped cutter like that. So once again, we'll just try to see. Are you hearing me, Ajad, Sairam? Okay. So nobody is responding means Okay. So here we'll try to have that shaping, planing, and slotting. Hello, it is audible. Hello. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Shaping, planing, planing spelling is not, double N is will not be there. Okay. Shaping, planing, PLANING, not double N. Okay. That some of the things are there. We can rectify as for the spelling is concerned. So slotting can be defined as the process of removing metal from a surface in the horizontal, vertical, and inclined position to produce a flat or a plane surface, or the slots and grooves by means of relative motion between the tool and workpiece. All this shaping, planing, and slotting are named as reciprocating machines. So all these are very important. This the third unit is a very lengthy unit. We have the shaping, planing, and slotting. Apart from that, we have the drilling and boring. So we can study 5 such machines in this one, and the working principles, the operations, and the components, that is the anatomy of these machines. So the different components of this, and lastly, we have that in the boring machine, the important topic is the jig boring machine. So just you try to follow the class. So in this particular machines, so the difference between the three processes of shaping, planing, and slotting is, so in shaping and slotting, the tool is reciprocating. So you just try to follow carefully. The tool is reciprocating, that is in motion, and the workpiece is fed into the cutting tool. So while in planing, the workpiece is reciprocating and the tool is fed in. Or else, in simple way, you can say in the working principle of the operation of shaper, in a shaper machine, a single point cutting tool reciprocates over a stationary workpiece. The workpiece is stationary. The work the workpiece is stationary. Hello. So the workpiece is stationary. The particular tool will be which will be clamped on the machine tool. It will be held in the tool head, mounted on the ram. So it will be reciprocating to and fro. So in the forward stroke, it's known as the cutting stroke, and the return, no material will be removed, and that is the return stroke or the ideal stroke. So it will take less time, but while machining, the machining stroke or the cutting stroke, it will take the time to finish the workpiece. So the workpiece not in a the final shape will not come in a single stroke or a single pass, but in a number of strokes we can complete the final shape and size of the workpiece according to the drawing. So that is very important. Here, tool reciprocates horizontally in the shaping. You just try to see the difference. Tool reciprocates horizontally in the shaping machine and vertically in slotting. So that you can remember. So where the tool, the workpiece will be held in a vise. You can ask where the work will be held. It will be held in a vise. Where the workpiece can be held, the workpiece holder, and which is that particular vise will be clamped on the machine tool bed, and the cutting tool will be held in the tool head, mounted on the ram. So when the moment of the ram is in the forward direction, the cutting stroke, then it cuts the material from the workpiece. So the ram in the backward direction does not cut the material. So what we are that in the backward stroke or the ideal stroke. So that is the duration of the return stroke is less. Already I told you it is less than that of the forward stroke. So how you can obtain the depth of cut? Different parameters are there. The speed, feed, and depth of cut. That also we'll discuss. So the depth of cut. Hello. So Ajad, some are unmuting themselves unnecessarily. They'll fall in trouble if you identify. So just try to tell them. So the particular depth of cut can be obtained by, we can lower the tool. Whatever position we want, we can lower the tool by means of the particular we have on the top, we have on the top of that machine, that arrangement where we can lower the lever type, not the wheel type. We can lever that particular tool. We can just lower that particular tool towards the workpiece. So all these are very important, and the cutting will be intermittent. The cutting will be intermittent in all the three processes, not at one stroke or a single pass, because in the relative reciprocating motion of the tool, it cuts only in the forward stroke, or the cutting stroke followed by the ideal return stroke. That's what we can say. It is not continuous. It is intermittent. Cutting is intermittent in all the shaping, planing, and slotting processes. So just try to have, because for this particular thing we have a good material also, like the lathe, where we have referred many PPTs, PDFs, and from the books also. So just try to practice the problems, because if you are not practicing, they may ask in the short answers or the big ones. So how to produce a flat piece here? The diagram is there. This is the workpiece which is clamped in a vise. This is the tool which is clamped to the tool head, where it is on the ram. The tool head is fixed to the is respirating. The workpiece is stationary, and the tool will be moving forward. So how the feed will be there? Feed is given by, what is feed here? It is defined as the relative motion of the workpiece. You can see relative motion of the workpiece in a direction perpendicular to the axis of the respirating motion of the ram. So what is speed? It is defined as the relative motion of the workpiece in a direction perpendicular axis of the respirating movement of the ram. So here the cutting stroke will be there, the tool will be there. So how the particular cutting action is there, is produced in the case of a shaping machine. You can see this is how the process of producing a flat workpiece. So you have to know all the terms like speed, feed, and depth of cut. So all of you listen carefully. So these are we'll just try to discuss again where the components, how the components are manufactured by the shape. Just like flat boys, the V-grooves, the slots, the keyways. So for that, we'll try to have that particular tooling, the particular, the specific tooling you have to make in the tool room. So how we'll just try to have the V-groove, a V-block, which we will be using in the metrology lab. All that we can, all the components, whatever we require in the machine shop or in the respective labs as an accessory, we can manufacture by means of the shaping process. So that is very important. And before going to this particular thing, we'll just try to define what is that particular specifications of a shaper. Specifications of a shaper. So like a specifications of a lathe, how we define the swing over bed as far as the lathe is concerned, and the distance between the headstock center and the lathe center. So you have to be very conscious of this one, because all these are short answers. In the introduction, we'll be discussing most of these short answer questions. How is shaper specified? Length of the stroke. Length of the stroke. So the type of drive. So whatever drive, we'll just try to see the type of drive later. So that is the gear drive, the hydraulic drive, all that in the ensuing classes, after the number of 2-3 classes. So, and what is that power input? So power input, and what is the floor space required? Floor space required. So as far as it is a horizontal, it may be occupying more than that of a slotting machine. When we compare the floor space occupied by the shaper and the slotting machine, planar it occupies more than the shaper, and we have the weight of the machine also. All the weight will be falling on the machine bed, just like the lathe bed. So, and here the cutting stroke to return stroke ratio. So what is the ratio? So that you have to see, because the cutting stroke will be having the less time, and how that particular motion is obtained by the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism or the crank and slotted revolve mechanism. You just without designing the mechanisms or without introducing the mechanisms in the shaping machine, you cannot, it's not a magic that it will work. You have to study that particular mechanisms also as a part of this particular unit of the chapter. So this is the specifications of a shaper. So what is the speed? Here the speed is linear, so at which the metal is removed by the cutting action of the tool. So that is the cutting speed. So what is the cutting speed? How it can be expressed? It can be expressed in terms of the length of cutting stroke by the time required for the cutting stroke. So what is the length of cutting stroke by the time required by the cutting stroke? Length of stroke is the specification. So that is very important, and the time required by the, you note down the time by means of a stopwatch like that. So that is a cutting speed. So what is the depth of cut? Depth of cut is nothing but the thickness of the material that is removed in one cut in a single pass in mm is known as a depth of cut. So what is the depth of cut? It is a perpendicular distance between the machined and the non-machined surface of the workpiece. So all these are definite things you have to discuss. So who is 336? So you just try to be interactive. All people are joining late. I'll try to take that because you are disturbing every time. I am just allowing you to the meeting room. It's not that you can join anytime. It's already 12:18. So here the shaper machine tool used for shaping operation is called shaper. Okay, we have just seen, because all these are reciprocating machines. So they are designed for machining flat surfaces. So here for shaper we use small size jobs. So whenever we want to have the big size jobs, we try to choose the selection of the reciprocating machine is also the task of the engineer or the particular production engineer. So if the size of the job is large, then you have to use the planing machine. So all that you have to see. And in a shaper, already we have seen that the workpiece is held stationary during cutting, while the tool reciprocates horizontally. The feed and depth of cut are normally provided by moving the work. That is very important. That's what I want to, priorly I want to introduce the particular machining parameters. Machine is concerned. So whatever the shaper is called a horizontal shaper, because the horizontal motion or the linear motion of the cutting tool is there in this shaping machine. So shaping, the shaper. So what is a shaper or a shaping machine? How it can be used? It is used primarily for producing a flat or a plane surface. So already I told you before in the introduction part. So what you have to design the type of tools according to the horizontal, vertical, or the angular plane or the incline. So already I told you, just try to revise that. For a vertical surface, you try to use a side cutting tool. For a horizontal surface, you use a planing tool. And for the inclined surface, you use a single point cutting tool. So all these are very important. So it is used to make the slots, because slots are there. Slots will be made on the job, but while seeing the anatomy of the component machine, the T-shaped slots are there on the machine table. Because how you can place the machining wise? By means of the T-slot, center T-slot it's known as. So we have to, in the acceptance test or the alignment test, we have to check the center T-slot's parallelism also. Because if they are not parallel or they are not machined properly, as far as the machine table is concerned, it will be reflected on the job or workpiece. That is the beauty of the integration of the manufacturing, the design, manufacturing, and the measurement and the metrology, the acceptance tests as far as that are conducted on different machine, milling, shaping, planing, radial drilling, pillar drilling, whatnot. So whatever. So without the acceptance test, no person, those who buys from the customer, will try to act quality control engineer or the quality assurance engineer in the industry where I used to go for inspection, outside inspection. That's not, just for your sake we are telling that metrology, why metrology is very important. The components, individual components, you have to check for this geometrical features. After assembly also you have to check. That's why they are known as acceptance tests. Acceptance tests are the geometric tests and the practical tests. After the machine is assembled, you try to just machine the pieces, whatever components you want to machine on the shaping machine, the planing machine, or the slotting machine. So that's a very beauty of the industry, where the persons will try to have that field of work industry. So producing a counter of concave. So already I told you, if you want to have a concave surface, you try to produce in the machine shop the opposite one as far as the form tool is concerned. Suppose you want to have a convex, you try to produce the opposite of that. Or you can have the concave or convex, or convex or concave, the combination of this one. So all these are the complex surfaces. So the complex, this one, the regular surfaces, you try to have the forming tool. That's very important. So today, just we'll try to have that particular feel of that introduction, that we'll try to come again how this is a shaping machine. All this in the 2D diagrams or the schematic diagrams, we'll try to see. This is a cutting tool in action. This is a photographic view of a shaping machine. Just they're taken, we have taken the photographs and just introduced this one. This may not be from the machine shop, but it may be is a collection from different. So that one. So now we'll try to come to the working principle. Already we have seen, but why I want to tell, as far as this particular chapter or any late chapter, unit 2, the working principle is important. What are the components of the reciprocating machines, and the operations? Operations are also very much important. So you have to know all this particular thing. They may be asking in the short answers also, because the specification, that is the length of the stroke, is very important. How the length can be adjusted. They'll be asking this type of questions, not only in the short answers in the JNTU exam, external exam, and the viva versa also, because we'll be having the jobs, we'll be doing the jobs on this in this lab. So you just try to listen carefully. So the job is rigidly fixed on the machine table. So how it is fixed? In the vise, in the machining vise. Where it will sit, the machining vise, it will be sitting there on the center T slots, the center T slots on the machine table. So all that. So this single point cutting tool, where you held, what is the position? It is held properly in the tool post, which is mounted in the reciprocating ram. That's why all these machines are known as reciprocating machines. So the reciprocating motion of the ram, how you can obtain? Already I told you, it's not the magic. You have to design or introduce that quick return motion mechanism, crank and slotted lever mechanism, or the Whitworth quick return mechanism. So all these are very important things you have to mention in the working principle. So what happens as the ram reciprocates? The tool cuts the material, a tool cuts the job or the workpiece during its pivot or the cutting stroke. So during the return, already I told you, there is no cutting action, and this stroke is called the ideal stroke. So what is the cycle? What is the machining cycle of the shaper or the operating cycle? It comprises both the forward and the return stroke. It comprises both the cutting stroke and the idle stroke. That is very important. So here you can see the schematic view of this particular shaping machine, where you can have that this is the clamp, this is the ram, and you can adjust the clamp as far as the motion of the ram is concerned. This is the tool slide, this is a clapper box block and swivel base. This is a tool post where you can clamp the tool to the tool post, and we have the frame, the column, the outside frame, the column. It's actually it is known as a column. You just try to see in different textbook different names, but mostly this is the outside frame, but this is the column. So where I am showing the cursor, you just try to see, and we have a the table. Beneath the table, we have the table support, and we have the saddle also. This is the saddle. This is the saddle rail. At the side of the saddle, we have a cross rail. So all that we try to see. This is the base. This is the base. So we'll just try to come one by one. So what is a base? What is a base actually? It's just like a machine bed. It's just like a machine bed as far as the lathe is concerned. And it acts as a support for the shaping machine, whole machine. So what material it is made of? It is made of cast iron. It's made of cast iron, and it withstands the whole weight of the machine. The whole weight of the machine will be falling on the machine base. So whatever forces are set up by the cutting action of the tool on the workpiece also will be borne by the machine base. So, and that's why beneath the machine we have the supports, or we have to have the damper. These are the vibrations, because the vibrations are caused by the machining of the workpiece produced in the machining process. So this particular base of the machine is bolted to the floor by means of the leveling screws. So that's why you have to have a leveling screws, the knee supports, and you have to, after just clamping to the floor space, to the floor of the machine shop, or in case of a bench shaper, depends upon the size of the machine. We have different sizes of the machine. So we have to see whether that flatness is obtained. So how flatness can be obtained? Just try to keep on the base the spirit level and try to check whether the bubble of the spirit level lies in the center. That is very important. That's why spirit level is very important in the very important measuring tool, measuring equipment, you can say, in the machine shop. So okay, next the cursor where I am showing. So what is a column? Column is also a casting. So it's mounted on the base of the machine. Just right, it's mounted on the base of the machine. So that is very important. So how it's looking? It's looking like a box-like structure. Box-like structure, rectangular shape, or box-like structure. So what is the mechanisms that are column? So that also you have to see. So the guideways are there on the top of the column, though we are not showing here, but you have to mention guideways are located on top of the column. So on top of the column, you just try to say guideways are located on the top of the column. On the guideways, what we see, you just try to see the ram. The ram is there, which reciprocates, and also in front of the column, what happens? Front of the column, the cross rail. This is the cross rail. The front of this is the front. This is the top of the column. On the front of the column, what happens? The reciprocating will be there. Cross rail reciprocates also. So on one side of the column, it will be having the handles. You can see it will be containing the handles, the levers, what we have discussed for operating the machine. So operating the machine, you have automatic or semi-automatic, but this is a semi-automatic, or maybe it is manual, not not a semi-automatic also, but you have to design the machine in such a way, what we can say, we can have that retrofitting. So you can convert this somewhat from manual to semi-automatic, or if you want to have the fully automatic, you have to have that, CNC, computer numerical controlled shaping machine, in which you have that machine control unit, and you can operate the feed or the whatever mechanisms are there. You can operate it fully automatic by means of this handles, levers, etc. So on the other side, what we have, we cannot show in this particular type. In the machine, if we go to the actual machine, other side we cannot show that. So on the other side, we have the lid, because we have to have the lubrication and for oiling, and we have to have that oiling for the internal mechanisms, because you have to frequently go for maintenance or oiling of this particular machine. You are try to have. What is the cross rail? The third one is the cross rail. Also heavy cast iron. So you just try to see here. The cross rail is a construction, heavy cast iron construction. It is mounted on the vertical guideways. On the vertical guideways, it is mounted, and this is a cross rail elevated screw. So it will move the table up and down. It will move the table up and down. So it houses one mechanism. So what is one mechanism? It one mechanism for sliding the table up and down, and the other one is for the crosswise movement, and the other one is the crosswise or the transverse movement of the table. One up and down, and the movement. So because in some of the acceptance tests, you have to move the table for about 1000 mm or 1 meter to 2 meters or 3 meters, depending upon the standard procedures adopted for that particular acceptance test or the alignment test. So that is very important. So next one is the saddle. Saddle. So what is that? So you can see where the saddle is there. It's mounted on the cross rail. The saddle is mounted on the cross rail, and it holds the table firmly. This table is there at the side. It holds the table firmly. So that is important. So already I told you the table has a center T slots. So the table, so okay, saddle table will try to come later. So what is the cross feed screw is provided. So we want to the of the saddle. We have to have a cross feed screw, which is not shown in the figure, but you just try to know what is the movement of the saddle also. The crosswise movement of the saddle can be obtained by the cross feed screw. So this whatever things are there, it can be operated manually, this cross feed screw, or by power operated also. So suppose it is power operated, it's somewhat like semi-automatic. Every time we cannot go for manual, because sometimes the fatigue of the operator will be there in the operating the machine, so you cannot give more productivity as far as the job pieces or the components are concerned. So the motion of the saddle, what happens? The motion of the saddle will try to cause the table, this table, to move sideways, rather than up and down. It will try to move the table sideways also. So next, the table is there. Here everything is cast iron, but nowadays with the advancement of materials, we can go for the different materials, combination of materials or alloys or composite materials. So all that we already discussed in the lathe. So it is made of cast iron and it's fastened to the saddle. It is fixed to the saddle. So it has center T slots. Center T slots, if you try to observe, both on the top and sideways. So for holding the work. So how you can hold the work on in the center T slots? You try to put a machine vise. In the machine vise, you try to hold the workpiece or the job. So the table, maybe different types, designs are there. There may be plane type with vertical and cross feed motions. Plane type with vertical and cross feed motions. All that are very important. So the universal type with the horizontal, vertical and angular motions. Because universal, why the universal meaning has come? It will come in the milling machine also. Universal shaper. It will be providing the horizontal, vertical and the inclined motions or the angular motions. the drawing and the explanation. So you present it properly in terms of points rather than paragraphs, because it is quite catchy. How you present also is very important. So next one, the RAM. The RAM. So the RAM is a respirating member already. So it holds the tool head, which holds the tool head. So it travels on the guideways. So it will be traveling on the guideways. Where guideways are there? On top of the column. On top of the column. So all these are very important. So the particular RAM, it travels on the guideways to provide a linear motion of the linear or straight flat motion of the tool. So how it obtains the motion means the respirating mechanism. Respirating mechanism is there in the column. It is housed in the column. That particular crank and slotted lever or the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism. So that is there in the column. Because we cannot see outside, we try to just disassemble this. We try to take the frame, this frame out, which is made by the sheet metal or of different thickness of different gauges. So we can see that mechanism. So that is there. So a screwed shaft is provided. A screwed shaft is provided. Sometimes some of the particular things are not shown in this particular diagram. We just try to explain in the presentation. So a screwed shaft will be provided for changing the position of the RAM, because you have to change the position of the RAM relative to the work, because some works are lengthy and some works are of different diameters, because small jobs only, but they may be of different diameters. So you can handle small diameter jobs as far as the shaping machine is concerned. So now we'll come to the tool head or a tool slide. So just try to see that. So tool head, what is tool head? It is mounted at the front of the RAM. You just try to see it's mounted at the front of the RAM. And we have the swivel base to swivel the tool slide according to the angular components, the inclined components, where you want to make the V blocks or the V groove on a square blocks or rectangular blocks. So like that we have. So it consists, so tool head, so okay, tool slide and tool head is not, but tool head will comprise of the tool slide. Tool slide, you just try to see tool slide. That's why I just showed it clearly. Tool slide, what will be having, you just try to see tool slide, tool post, tool post. What are the other things? We have the clapper box also, clapper blocks block. So the tool head will be holding the tool firmly. Okay, it will be holding the tool firmly, and which can slide up and down. So we can we adjust the particular tool position also, and which will slide up and down, and it can be swiveled at any angle. That's why I told you. For what the swivel base is there, it can be swiveled at any angle, just like the taper turning methods in the lathe. We have an angular degrees at the base is the swivel base, where whatever angle you have calculated according to that particular angle, some 1 degree, 47 minutes or 43 minutes, you can swivel for inclined jobs. For inclined jobs. So that is the things we have to discuss. The working principle we have to discuss and elaborately. You have to discuss the components also. That which is very important, and you have to draw the diagram neatly with pencil. Time and again I am telling. That is very important. And construction what we have discussed now. So I just want to show the figure and explain. So just try to move, because we have another 15 minutes or 10 minutes. So the main parts of the shaping machine, we have the base. You just try to see. You have seen the diagram. The body is consisting of the pillar, frame and column. Pillar, frame and column. Okay. The cross rail. You have seen the cross rail. You have seen the cross rails. So the tool head will be consisting of the tool slide. We have the tool post and the clapper, not clamper. It is actually it is clapper. You just try to see, because different words are using, maybe some spelling mistakes are there. It is known as the clapper box block, not clamper. Okay, not clamper. It is known as clapper box block. So all this are the construction and working principle. Suppose working principle is there, only short answer are asking the construction and working principle of this one. So we have seen all this particular explanation also. Okay, so just try to see. You can see body is mounted on the base, so it will be consisting of the main drives, the gearbox and the quick return motion for the ram movement for the return stroke. So all that are there, and the top of the guideways are there for the ram. Actually, so we have discussed the column, and its front for the cross rail. On the top for the ram, and on the front we have the guideways with the cross rail. So all this we have discussed, but so cross rail is mounted in front of the body frame or column. So it can be moved up and down. Already I told you that movement is up and down, and the vertical movement will be why we have to move up and down, because it provides or gives that particular provision for the cross rail to permit jobs of different, because different heights of the jobs will be there. You try to go for the vertical movement of the cross rail just below the tool. So that is very important as far as the cross rail is concerned. So you have seen in the diagram itself how the sliding along the cross rail. We have the saddle, and the saddle beside the saddle we have the work table or the table. So next we have that ram and tool head. So ram, already I told you, it is a reciprocating motion back and forth. It is provided by the crank and slotted lever mechanism or slotted link mechanism. So what is the back and forth movement of the ram? It is called stroke. And what is the machining cycle or the working cycle? It is both the cutting stroke and the ideal stroke, or the forward stroke and the return stroke. Back and forth movement of this can be adjusted according to the length of the workpiece. But in some of the particular shorter some of the things which you have to discuss later. So all how the length of the stroke and the ram position and the shaper can be adjusted. That's also a very important question you may ask. We'll just try to have this one. So types of shaping machines, maybe we will be discussing at full length tomorrow, because already it is 45 minutes now. We'll just try to see what are the things we can discuss in the shaping machine or in this particular unit. So we have the shaping machines are the reciprocating type of machine tools. In the workpiece is held stationary and the tool is reciprocating. So most of the shaping machines are the horizontal position. Most of the designs are horizontal, but if you want to go for the design of the reciprocating motion in vertical position, we can have, but mostly we'll try to come across the horizontal type in most of the machine shops. But for medium size, we have the different industries where they can have the vertical type also, or the slotting machines also. Slotting machine, mostly we have the vertical type, vertical position or slotters. So already I told you what I told you, the construction and working principle, the specification of the shaper, the operations of the operations which are conducted on this on the shaping machine are very important. So you have to specify the cutting action and functioning of the clapper box in a shaper. Suppose the operation is there, you have to draw these two diagrams concerning the forward stroke and the return stroke. And this is the tool, this is the clapper blocks, this is the workpiece, and how the tool will be moving in the forward stroke when the ram is respirating in the forward direction, and how that particular how you lift the clapper box, because in the return stroke, because if you don't try to lift the clapper box, the tool will rub against, the tool will be rubbing against the workpiece. So you have to have the tool cleared from the machine surface, because in the forward stroke only the machining will be taking place, the material removal will be taking place. So you have to explain properly or draw the diagram properly. This how to lift the particular clapper box, on how the tool is cleared from the machine surface in order to avoid the rubbing of the tool on the machine surface, because the return stroke is idle. The return stroke is idle. Okay. So this is a very important diagram in which you have to explain the shaping operation. Operations of a shaper and the shaping of operations, different operations are there. You just try to see, just try to discuss later, but you don't try to confuse yourself with the shaping operation and the different operations of a shaper. The shaping operations you have to discuss by drawing these two diagrams. That is one for the forward stroke and the backward stroke. You just try to draw the workpiece, the tool, the clapper box, a simple diagram. So we can draw, and because only by practice, don't try to see and just try to practice in the directly in the internal exam or the external exam. So just try to this one. So whatever things we want to discuss later, we'll just try to see also, because we can see the ram movement will be comparatively slow speed during the forward cutting stroke. Already that I told you, because by you can obtain by the quick return motion mechanism, the return stroke. The mechanism is so designed because the tool will be moving at a faster rate, because you have to reduce the ideal stroke or the return stroke. In the return time, the time will be less. So this mechanism is known as quick return mechanism. Only the short ones, but you have to draw that particular mechanism, whatever, and try to explain how the ram will be moving at a faster rate during the return stroke, because the time consumed will be less, and the total machining time we can reduce and increase the productivity or the rate of production. So the whatever mechanisms we can discuss, we'll discuss tomorrow. So the crank and slotted link mechanism or the lever mechanism, and the hydraulic mechanism, we'll just try to see according to the syllabus also the chronology or the sequence of the whatever topics we have to discuss. Though I will telling now, we will discuss this. We'll try to, there may be a difference of 1 or 2 classes where we will complete this mechanisms also, the hydraulic mechanism and the Whitworth quick return mechanism. So just try to be full-fledged with this particular unit, because length and breadth of this unit has to be covered, because people will try to think that there's a big unit and try to leave, because the knowledge sake you have to cover shaper, planer and slotter as far as the first part of the third unit is concerned. And in the second part, we'll be discussing about the drilling and boring machines along with the jig boring machine. Here the shaper is there. You just try to see. Just I am just showing. We'll just try to discuss at length tomorrow. That is the different motions, because you just try to see smaller arc distance is there in the return stroke, and this is the different times crank and slotted lever quick return motion mechanism of the ram, and the hydraulic also we'll discuss, because that is very important. Whenever we hydraulic along with the piston, so how the are there, because in a Belgian lab you might have seen the different types of valves also, and how the gear pump, different types of pumps, the hydraulic pumps, which is a gear pump. So all this we'll discuss, because we have to practice the diagrams. So what is the role of the bull gear also we'll try to discuss. That is very important. The distance between the bull gear center and the center of the crank pin for adjusting the length of the stroke. That is also very important, because I told you how to adjust the length of the stroke and ram position. You have to adjust the, what I told you, you have to adjust the distance between the bull gear center and the center of the crank pin. So we have all this in this quick return motion mechanisms. And already I told you, just like the work holding devices for shaping for the lathe machines, we'll be discussing the different work welding devices which are of different types, strip, wedge strip, step block, stop pin, all this. So the diagrams are very simple, but you have to practice. Only it appears simple to you only if you try to practice. Okay. So we'll just try to wind up. And what we have, the summary of this particular class, what you have learned in this class, the working principle of shaper, the construction and working principle of shaper. So what you have learned, the various operations performed on shaper, various operations and corresponding cutting tools. And what you have learned, the different terms or the machining parameters as far as shaping machine is concerned, the speed, feed and depth of cut. And you have learned about the components of a shaping machine, the construction. In the construction, what you have learned, the base, the column, the cross rail, saddle, table, ram. So you may be asking to draw different type of vices. We'll just try to see the particular figure is a swivel base machine vise. So we can swivel the base at a particular tilting angle where we want to have the machining of a angular surface. Okay. So with this, we'll try to conclude, and tomorrow we'll try to go to the next topic as per the sequence of the syllabus or this particular PDF or the PPT. So we'll leave and try to be sincere, and we'll be giving unit-wise questions. Whatever number we cannot tell, we are trying to discuss. So we'll try to give unit 1 and unit 2 already we have finished. So we'll try to give in the Google forms. So you have to write that in the Google form and submit to us. We'll trying to provide the mails of the different teachers which are coming to the third year. The class teacher also will be following up as far as section A and section B is concerned. That will start doing that. Okay. Thank you for patient listening. So we'll end the class. Ajad. Ajad, have you taken the attendance? Ajad? Ajad? Okay.